The first move is palm pushing block, like so. Here. So, as it would suggest, the blocking tool is the palm, and more specifically, you want to be using the palm heel in here. So this part of the hand is going to be hitting into the shoulder, which means we're not quite on the shoulder line here, but this side of the palm is level with our own shoulder. Okay, very slight variation, but you can still think of it as being to shoulder line if you wish. With the fingers, we've got to be very careful. We can't let them come too forwards because we're not trying to hit with the fingers. We can't pull them back either because we start to get this awkward tension here. Everything builds up. Okay, so they need to be relaxed enough that they are flat out of the way, but not so relaxed that they're coming forwards. Yeah. Early on in the pattern, we come from twin forearm block into upwards punch here. Now, you'll notice I don't come to neutral position in this technique, and that's for a very important reason. It's because this movement here is all part of a circle. What I would be doing if I wanted to come to neutral position is to drop the hands and then to pull it straight back up onto the same line they would already be transitioning off. Now, one of our training secrets of Taekwondo is to never do too much, essentially. That's the way I like to read it anyway. And if I'm dropping my hands in order to come back up onto the same line, then I'm wasting energy, so we don't do it. Just up here, and then to here, okay? So this hand is punching to the bottom of your chin height, coming under the jaw, and this hand is standard reaction, hovering over the bicep with just 1 inch between my hand and my bicep. So now we have vertical stance coming up next, here, this way. Now there's certainly some interesting features about this move. First of all, you'll notice there's no sine wave. Now sine wave is generally when we're bending our legs and we're coming from what is already quite an upright position to a straight upright position. Remember, vertical stance, our legs are straight out here, and also 1 shoulder width between the inside of the rear foot and the toe of the front foot. So we're in a short and upright stance, so we don't need to drop onto the technique. Gravity is not going to help us, therefore sine wave is not something we're generally going to do. Also, the hand movement, another interesting thing to think about. This right hand has to move a considerable distance. Because we're not doing sine wave anymore, the distance that my leg moves is a very small amount. It's coming in a straight line. There's no fluff around it at all. So I have to move this outside hand very quickly. Here, this can pull back in plenty of time. What you must do is pull it straight up and round, no relax, no hesitation, execute immediately. So in Hwa-Rang we also have a release, and while on the surface level it doesn't quite look the same as here from Do-san, everything moves fairly similarly. Now instead of having a straight fingertip thrust, we're in a punch position, but everything else stays vaguely the same. First thing to do, and we're going to break it down into steps, is to bring the hand to here. As this is now going to pull in, it's going to pull to 45 degrees, and as I do so, the rear foot is going to pull to 45 degrees as well. Here, this way. Now when we pull here, we bring our left foot off the floor, the same as we would in Do-san Tul, and we put 70% of our weight onto this leg. It's not a stance as such, but you're pulling into the center of where you were, leave your front foot as it is, and pulling to 45 degrees with both the hips, the arm, and with the rear heel. From here, you can rotate, plant, pull back, and deliver your side kick as you would normally. Okay, so the next move is here, L stance punch. And because the majority of my weight is on my right leg, that means this is our primary leg, which makes this my primary hand, and this is an obverse punch. Once again, pull this way. If this is 0 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 15 degrees off from the center. Here, notice that my hips are at 45, so we're coming across my body. Now when we're going to step forward into another L stance obverse punch, we make sure to relax the hands to reach and to punch as normal. What we used to do is track round here, but this is unnatural. Make sure you're having a nice good relax. You're rotating the foot through, so you're coming in a straight line, and the rear foot is rotating at the end of the move. Now, another technique that seems fairly simple on the surface but requires some careful consideration is our side elbow thrust. Now, first of all, why is it a side elbow thrust? If I do it this way, you can see the right hand is my primary hand, and that seems to be the one that's coming out to my rear, but my hips are facing off at 45 degrees. So this way, behind me this way, is actually a rear elbow thrust. I'm pulling my arm. If I pull myself so that my hips are now facing towards the camera, I'm no longer facing to my rear, my hand is coming off my side rear. It's a side elbow thrust this way. Now, if I wanted to do a rear elbow thrust, I would generally have to be in something where my hips are facing entirely forwards and my hands are coming behind me. We can try and do that in walking stance, but it becomes a little bit awkward. Okay, so this is a rear elbow thrust. This, different stance, similar technique, is a side elbow thrust. Now, when we come to do it in the pattern, what we've got to be careful of is we're coming offline naturally. So you see, watch my left foot here. It is obviously to the left of where my center line is. I should be down the CD line this way. If I do it naturally, here, I'm still in my relaxed phase. I lift up, and by pulling myself back, I'm coming way offline. Let me do it that a little bit further back for you. Here, lift, and you see, my left leg remains to the left, to this side of the center line. So I'm coming off the line. I don't want to be doing that. So we anticipate that. We help ourselves get back onto the center line and strike our target, who is directly behind us as we start the move. By coming to here, we lift, and then we pull ourselves 10 degrees back towards the line. Let me do that further back for you again. Rotate. Now I'm too far this way, so I look over, I'm coming 10 degrees back towards this side, and I'm shifting here. And then my my side elbow strike, thrust, side elbow thrust, should be coming back onto my center line. So we also have here this move, which is a side front block with the inner forearm this way. So what we have, if we're standing still, is a relax up and a natural rotation of the hips, same as we would do for low outer forearm block, for punch, for anything where we let our body do what it wants to a certain degree. However, the first time that we do this in the pattern through here, we don't need to be snapping, rotating, trying to put anything extra into the move, because we're already rotating. Okay, so we are from here this way, nice and easy. Okay, it's straight through, there's no exaggerated sine wave. We're picking ourselves up from a lower stance into one where our legs are straight, so we don't need to get the down up down as such onto the move. Second one here, nice and easy. Hand position, this is to the side front, which means if I take 45 degrees through my center line and take it out here, this is where it's at. I'm not doing a back fist, so the back fist is not facing towards 45 degrees. I'm doing an inner forearm block, so the inner forearm will just be naturally held out here, and then the reaction hand is directly in front on the center line in a natural position with the arm, not locked out, just very lightly bent here, this way.